Welcome to the Credit Show, podcast and broadcast on 101.5 FM KDON here in Las Vegas. And we are also available anytime on Spotify, iHeart, and the Apple Podcast apps. All three of those. All you've got to do is punch in the Credit Show or my name, Harry Jacobs, and you'll find us in any one of those places. No matter when you hear the show, whether you're downloading it or you're hearing us live here on KDON, we've always got folks that are in the office standing by to speak with you about your situation. Our company is Credit Restoration of Nevada. You'll find us very easily online. I'll give you the phone number. I'll give you the website. Just a couple minutes. We'll get right to it for you and get you the information you need to reach out to us if you need some help. It is always free. That's a big question from folks. They want to know what's it going to cost me? What's it going to cost me just to talk to you, right? That's something that comes up frequently, and the response to that is always the same thing. It's always a resounding nothing. It doesn't cost you anything to have a phone call with me or to have me look at something for you. Happy to do that for you. I look at every single report. Every report that we touch or that we're thinking about touching to do repair work on is something that I look at. So, if you want someone with years and years of experience in FICO and other training and in credit and credit analysis, I'm happy to do that for you at no cost. And you don't even have to leave the house in order to have me do that. Just pick up the phone and call us or get online and make an appointment through the website. So here's the information you need. The website, very easy to find, CR, like credit restoration, crnevada.com is the website. And if you jump on the website, there's a bunch of resources there for you. There's videos on how things work with us, what happens to your credit in different cases, the benefits of having us repair your credit, how much is at stake with your credit, getting qualified for a mortgage or a car, any of those things. And kind of the meat and potatoes that everyone wants to know. What's it going to cost me to have you fix my credit? It's all there for you. You can also book an appointment and get your credit report through Identity IQ on the website as well. Very easy to do all that. And the other option for you is just to reach out and shoot us a text or a phone call. We are text friendly. Just text the word credit. Just text that word credit to 702-778-2000. 702-778-2000. We are standing by to respond to you. By the way, we're going to ask you three things, whether you call in or whether you text us. Going to ask you your first name, your last name, and an email address. I want to send you an email to get you a link to fix your credit. I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook lately, looking at these folks that are out there thinking that they know and understand the process of repairing credit. And I can tell you, we got a lot of people that don't know a lot about a lot of things, including credit. There are two folks I want to talk about. I'm not going to do this by name. I don't like to do that. But the first one is a guy that I found on TikTok who is talking about the fact that it is illegal for a collection agency to collect or attempt to collect on a debt without your written permission. Now, I have seen some stupid things online in my day about any number of different topics on TikTok and social media from people that think they understand things, and clearly they don't. And this is a perfect example of someone that is willfully providing information that is inaccurate. I repeat, this guy is on there talking about the fact that it is illegal for a collection agency to collect or attempt to collect on a debt without your written permission. This is a guy, by the way, who's standing in front of his gas grill drinking a soda. I think I heard his phone beep while he was doing this, like he's getting a text or a call. And he's giving us advice on what's right and what's not right what's legal and what's illegal on credit reports. You know what? I don't know if you're like me at all, but I see that stuff. And I guess because it's my field, I see it in things where it's not my field and I know anyway. But I see that stuff when it's about credit. And I think, and then I look and see, well, there are 30,000 people following this guy. 30,000 people getting the wrong information about what's okay and what's not okay with being on a credit report. There's no rules. There's nothing governing anything. There's no harming anyone. There's no physical violence. There's no, sexual stuff on there. There's nothing inappropriate. It's just someone being stupid and giving people information that is wrong and leading people down a path. Where I end up hearing from people. I hear from people. I've mentioned this before. I got a guy, I want to mention him by name, but I don't want to do it without his permission. I got a guy I really like who's in the auto business, who sends me stuff all the time. I finally had to say, listen, stop sending me the TikTok stuff. You're sending me TikToks from guys that are sitting in their mom's basement with a bong and a can of grape Fanta and a grow light behind them. And they're talking about the fact that they understand credit. They're going to help you fix your credit in 10 days. They're high on something. It's not on knowledge. It's not on anything that's accurate in terms of information. This guy in his backyard at the barbecue. Moron. Let me explain to you something before I get to number 2. Idiot number 2. Let me explain something to you about collections on credit. And this is something, if you listen to this show or this podcast for any length of time, you got to know that I talk in detail about collections a lot. If you go search, we got 50 or 60 podcasts up there. If you go search through them, I bet every other podcast has something about collections in there. Something about me raising my voice and my blood pressure. What does my Apple Watch say right now? Oh, my heart rate's up to 103 beats per minute. When I said hello to you this morning, it was 77 beats per minute. It's not good. But it's the idiocy that gets my heart rate up. I have a little spike in my heart rate. But I talk all the time about what collection agencies can do and what they can't do. What they can do legally and what they can't. And when you start talking about what they can report, you're getting into an area called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. What people are allowed to report about you, what sort of information furnishers like collection agencies are allowed to put on your credit report. And as it relates to collection agencies, listen to me now, and what did Hans and Franz used to say? Listen to me now and believe me later. Listen to me now and believe me later. A collection agency is under no obligation to contact you, not only to report on you on your credit report, but to collect on you. Neither one of those things. Collections are never on your credit illegally. If you owe the debt, it's there legally. Now, after a certain period of time and under certain conditions, if the reporting is actually inaccurate, yes, we can look at those. It doesn't make them illegal. They're just willfully providing inaccurate information, much like this idiot in his backyard with the phone beeping, standing at his grill, giving us credit advice. Like that. But there's nothing in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act or under the Fair Credit Reporting Act which says that a collection agency has to either A, contact you, the FDCPA, before they buy a debt, or the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that says they have to contact you before reporting on your credit report. So, you can have a collection show up on your credit report without ever even being called about it. And it's still legal. Yes, Harry Jacobs said it's legal. Because it's the truth. The absolute truth. There's my 2 cents on that. I got another one of these guys to talk about, and I'm in a limited period of time. I've got like 2 minutes and some change. I get through it or I continue the next segment. At any rate, I'm seeing a bunch of these folks that are, for lack of a better term, credit hustlers. They're posting here about what's illegal and how collections report on your credit, the actual reporting of them on your credit. One of these folks is talking about how credits... One of these guys was talking about how collections cannot report as open accounts on your credit or as past due accounts, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. How is it supposed to open? If a collection agency, if Capital One has an account that they've given you and you have allowed that account to charge off and they close it and they hand it to a collection agency and that collection agency reports the account, it's an open collection because you still, follow me now, owe them money. How else are they supposed to report it other than open? And it is in fact still past due because you never paid Capital One. Because an account has charged off, it does not mean that an account cannot report on your credit or that it is uncollectible. That is another bit of information that is inaccurate that folks are running their mouths about on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. Not even looking at original credit reports, by the way. They're looking at Smart Credit and Credit Karma, people that merge credit reports. So they're not even looking at an actual Experian report, an actual Equifax report, or an actual TransUnion report. They're looking at these other systems, which don't have the same, this is important, level of detail or level of data that the credit bureaus provide on their reports. I am hot on this issue today, and I'm going to continue with it. If that's okay, with your permission, our phone number in the office, 702-778-2000. Text the word credit or call us. We're on iHeart, we're on Spotify, we're in the Apple iTunes podcast apps, and here live on KDON 1015 FM, Saturday mornings, 8 to 9. This is The Credit Show. A lot of people call and just say, listen, I want to hire you. I want to hire you. I don't ever say yes to that. I always say, let me look at your credit first, and let me make sure that I can fix your credit. Because if I can't, I don't want to have you as a client. No offense to you, but if I can't help you, why would you want to pay us? I want to make sure that I can help you. It's simple. It's a very binary thing. You either fit or you don't fit. I have this friend of mine that says that all the time. He'll be sitting smoking a cigar. Well, Harry, it's just a very binary thing. It's either yes or it's no. You think I sound crotchety. Oh boy, this guy. He's a grumpy, you know what? He's grumpy. It's binary, Harry. Yeah. He makes me, by the way, sound like a little girl with his voice. You don't need to leave your house to have us fix your credit either. By the way, we do these net meetings. I can send you a link and you can climb into my computer, so to speak, and I'll take you through your entire credit report, every single bit of it, every detail of your credit report I'll help you look at and understand. Give you an 8-page analysis on your credit. Give you all the detail that you can handle. Find us on the web at CR, like credit restoration, crnevada.com. Or you can call us, book an appointment with me, get an email from me. I'll send you a link. Get your credit report. 702-778-2000. 702-778-2000. And if you're listening on, on iHeart or on Spotify or on Apple iTunes, you can call us from anywhere. You don't have to be here in Nevada. I can help you wherever you are. I don't solicit anyone from other states when I do this show. But if you need help, then pick up the phone and hopefully we can point you in the right direction. I have been bitching today. I have been on a tear today about people on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube giving inaccurate information about credit reports and credit repair. Talked about this guy in the first segment that I found on TikTok. Guy was talking about the fact that it was illegal for collection agencies to collect or attempt to collect on a debt without your written permission as a consumer. As I said in the first segment, I have seen some stupid crap in my life from people that know nothing about of which they speak. But man, as soon as you get down that rabbit hole of TikTok or on Facebook or YouTube, watch some of these folks that are out there talking about credit repair. There's a lot of people that know nothing. I can tell you that. There's one thing that drives me crazy next to not being able to find information that I need is finding someone that I think sounds like they know what they're talking about, but upon further research and verification, I find out that they were just talking out of their ass. Just giving me information that is incorrect, factually inaccurate. There's an intent to deceive. How's that? So I started talking about one of these folks that I saw, guys like a credit hustler, for lack of a better way to describe him. And he is posting about the fact that there are certain things that are illegal in terms of how collections are reporting on your credit and how he in 10 days or 15 days can get your credit report clean because of these illegal things that are happening on your credit. How it's illegal for them to open or have an account reporting on your credit that's reporting as open. How a credit collection, or just a collection account, if you will, cannot report as open because it's a closed account. Well, let me give you some information here about this credit hustler. What he's telling you is wrong. As I said 10 minutes ago, you have an account maybe with Capital One that closed because you didn't pay, and it went to collection and they charged off the account. There are two things that happen. One, that account gets charged off. It's an accounting treatment only. They are completely allowed to collect that money. They must correct their accounting if they're able to collect on it, if they're successful. But otherwise, they write that money off. Doesn't mean they won't collect it or they can't collect it. That's why it goes to a collection agency. Credit card debts that get charged off right away don't go to debt buyers, people that buy debts for a nickel on the dollar or 10 cents on the dollar. You're watching videos where people are telling you don't pay your credit card collections because you can just, pay them 10 cents instead of the nickel they bought on the dollar. It's not true. It's not how it works. The major collection agencies in this country, Midland and Portfolio and others just like them, they are servicing debt. They don't own the debts. They don't own the debts. They're servicing them. They haven't bought them. Now, maybe in some cases they do. I don't know. I don't know that Midland or Portfolio in particular do anything other than service debt for other people. That means you can't settle that account for 10 cents on the dollar, 5 cents or a quarter or whatever. It just doesn't happen. That's not reality. You're getting information that's wrong. So this credit, again, I've nicknamed this guy the credit hustler, but this credit hustler is saying it's illegal for collections to report on your credit as open accounts or as past due. It's past due because it's the only reporting that's available on the credit report on an account that is still open and has money that's due. And that's what a collection is. It's an account you still owe money on, and it's past due. What else would it be, dummy? Sorry, I'm not calling you dummy. I'm calling the credit hustler dummy. And I'm cranky today. Normally, I'm more affable. If you've got it, listen, I've been doing this show a dozen years. You hear me being silly all the time. You hear me with a smile on my face, maybe even once in a while. I don't know. But today, I'm torqued. My heart rate still hasn't come down. I'm actually up to 106. I started in the mid 70s when I started doing this today. And it's because I'm on this tear about people giving bad information on TikTok and other platforms about credit when they know nothing about credit. The credit hustler I'm talking about looks like he's in his mom's basement, smoking weed with a grow lamp behind him. It is not illegal for a collection agency to be listed on your credit report or to have an account listed as open. Nor is it illegal for them to report it as past due. That is precisely what it is. And it's, by the way, if you've got a situation like that, it's what got you into the spot to begin with. You had an account, it didn't get paid, it went to collection, and it stays open for as long as it can stay open. It can be on your credit report for not 7 years, by the way. It's not 7 years. A lot of people say, it's 7 years, has to come off. No. It's 7 years plus 180 days. 180 days. 5 months from the date of original delinquency that led to the charge-off. That's what the Fair Credit Reporting Act says. It's not 7 years for a negative item, 7.5. I feel like going through these social media guys, sites, TikTok and YouTube, these people that are giving this information that's wrong and saying, let's debate this issue. I get so wound up, like I want to argue with someone who's because they're giving you false hope. They're giving you inaccurate information in an attempt to get you to pay them something. They're hustling you. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is what dictates what is on your credit report and how it may report on you. How a furnisher of information, whether that be an original creditor, like I'm giving an example of Capital One, but how Capital One may report on you. Or example number 2, how a collection agency may report on you. That's all. And a collection account that's not been paid is still open. And because you haven't paid it, it's still past due. It remains past due from when they picked it up and serviced it to begin with. That's it. I'm done talking about those guys. Let me give you one, and this is collection related. Let me give you another story. I got a call from someone, I guess at the beginning of last month. We've since rectified the situation for him. But he went to get solar for the house, and he had a couple collections that were on there that were medical in nature. Now, oftentimes someone will tell you that in the underwriting process that medical collections don't matter. But what matters is the medical collection actually brings your score down, which is why you got to get rid of them. So, he wanted to wait because he was, someone who had like a 720 score. But because of these 2 collections, he was in the 600s, mid 600s. He had otherwise solid credit. So we dealt with a couple of medical collections, got them removed, and he went and got the good interest rate, as they say, and that was the end of that. Don't wait, by the way. That's my message here. Don't wait until you have to apply for something. Let us look at it prior to you going to apply for anything. That's important. 702-778-2000. Text the word credit. This is The Credit Show on KDON, iHeart, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome back to The Credit Show, podcast and broadcast. Available to you anytime for your listening and entertainment purposes on Spotify, iHeart, and the Apple Podcast apps. Just got to punch in The Credit Show when you go to one of those apps, or punch in my name. It's Harry Jacobs. It doesn't matter when you hear this show. We've always got people. We've always got operators. This is a 24/7 operation. We've always got people that are standing by to get some information from you and get you an email out, get a link to a credit report so we can get that analyzed and see what we can do to help you. I love that line from Cuba Gooding and Jerry Maguire where he says, Jerry, help me help you. Help me help you. Jerry's torn. Jerry's torn about the right thing to do. And Cuba says, I got the solution. Help me help you. But the way that you allow me to help you is you actually pick up the phone or you reach out to us and you say, listen, I need some help. And from there, we move on and we get you an analysis on your credit report. And hopefully, with any luck, you're a good fit. And we can find a way to fix your credit and get you the credit that you need, the good credit you need. Listen, bad things happen to good people all the time. It's why we are here, to help you get through your situation, to help you get back on track, to help you get refinanced or buy a new home or get a car without paying some ridiculous usury kind of rates. There's no usury here in Nevada. You get charged for money at crazy interest rates when you borrow it. Our team, including me, work constantly. I'm all set up at home. I'm all set up at the office. You need me, I can, and we can get a phone call. I can get into your credit report from virtually anywhere that I am safely. And I could take a look at things and get on top of your situation for you and get you on to better things. We will fix it. You may be at the end of your bandwidth. You may have had issues trying to get your credit repaired, or you've gone to someone else and they couldn't make it happen for you. Well, we can make it happen, and we can do it quickly. Go to the website. It's CR, like credit restoration, crnevada.com, or pick up the phone and call us or text us. 702-778-2000. 702-778-2000. Text the word credit. We're always going to ask you a few things, first and last name, and then an email address, because I want to send you a link to get your credit report. I want to be able to look at your report before we start anything for you. We're going to do that immediately. And in the end, after we look at it, I'm going to send you an analysis of your credit, 8 or 9 pages long, all kinds of information about your credit. Will be in there. Just pick up the phone. Help me help you. Let's talk about co-signing for a moment, a hot topic. One of the folks that works in our office came to me, end of last week, end of the day, and said, hey, I want to co-sign for my son. I'm thinking about co-signing for my son. And she said, I know you don't like it. And I said, I don't like it. And I said, let me tell you why I don't like it. I said, sit for a minute. Just sit down. Let's talk. I said, when you come to me with the best of intentions, right? You want to help your son who's done some things that are not responsible with his credit, and you love your son and you want to help him. I get that. And I admire that. I respect that. But before I tell you what I'm going to tell you, are you prepared to make the monthly payment on the car that he wants, which is, going to be what? How much money? What do you think it's going to be? And she said, I don't know, maybe $600 or $700 a month for what he wants. He wants some nice SUV, some fancy schmancy SUV. And I said, so are you prepared to part with $700 or $800 a month if something happens, maybe with his job or something else, and he can't make that payment? She said, well, no, not really. That's too much money for me. She said, my car payment isn't even that. I said, okay. So do you know what I'm going to tell you now? She said, yeah, I think I do. I said, let me do it gently. If you're considering co-signing for him, I know you love him, but you must understand that if he defaults, then your good credit is at risk. And you will be responsible for making that payment unless you want your credit trashed as well. I said, that's the single most important thing I can tell you. Is that's what you got to be prepared for. And she said, okay, that makes sense. It changes things. She said, I knew, because I've heard you talk about it, I knew kind of what you were going to say. I just wanted to know if this is always, it kills me when someone says, I heard you talk about it, but, is there something else that I'm not understanding in this, that I miss? Like, do I withhold the good information for the people that work for us or in our office or that I know, that are friends with, I smoke cigars with, or motorcycle ride with? Do I hold the good information for them and not give it to you, the folks that are listening to the podcast or the broadcast? And the answer is no. I give everyone the same information, hopefully the same good information. If you're going to co-sign, don't do it unless you're ready to make the payment. That's number one. I tell people two things. Same two things I've been telling people for a dozen years. Don't do it unless you're ready to make the payment. And make sure that you are either the single point of contact in the system for the finance company, so that if there is a problem and the payment doesn't get made, even a day late, payment's due on the 10th and on the 11th, the payment's not there. Not 30 days late, but it's a day late, that you are made aware immediately so that you can reach out and paddle your son's ass for not paying that bill on time. And she laughed. She said, he's too big to paddle. I said, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. You know me. I'm a recovering class clown. I'll always look for the laugh. I'll always look for a little levity in this. But don't do it unless you're ready to pay. That's all. And that was the end of the discussion. That's it. She promised me a cigar for my time. I never charge, by the way, for my time, ever. And that goes for you that are listening, folks that are listening to the show on the radio or on the podcast. If you've got a question about something you're thinking about doing or you want to do and you want some advice, then pick up the phone and call or make an appointment and come see me. Happy to come, have you come and see us and talk to us about what's going on. Don't have to pay us for that. It's easy to do that. This is The Credit Show. By the way, we're on the iTunes, iHeart, and Spotify platforms. If you want to download the show, just punch in my name. It's Harry Jacobs. Or The Credit Show on one of those places, and you'll be able to enjoy the show anytime you want. Get some information. Maybe if you're thinking about co-signing for someone, you can download this podcast and have your kid listen to it. That way you don't have to have a speech. You can go listen to this guy talk about what needs to happen if I'm going to co-sign. Maybe that'll change the tune. I don't know. Back to debt collectors for a minute, just so that we're on the same page with this. In terms of debt collection, Number one, I don't believe debt collectors are bad. They have a job to do because people default on debts. But there are some people that don't like to follow the law that are in that business, and those are the people we like to go after. But you as a consumer must know how to defend yourself to begin with if you're in the situation. The number one complaint at the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is about debt collectors. As a consumer, you always want to say, as the first order of business, if there's something that doesn't sound familiar to you, you want to have the debt validated. Validate that debt for me. Provide me the information you have. Do like the law says. By the way, I always, what I like to add to that is I like to get account level data. Meaning, what do you have for statements? What do you have for backup? What sort of information do you have? They're not obligated to provide you a lot, but get what they are in possession of. And then, by the way, you're not under any obligation to speak to them on the phone. At any time, you can always say to them when you're on the phone, when you ask for validation, you can always say, I am revoking consent for you to contact me on the telephone. Those two things are really important. Listen, understand this. It does not mean that those collection folks are going to stop trying to collect the debt. They're just doing it in a different way. It means that they have to do it in a different way. They have to do it by writing. Does not mean you're going to be in a spot where you can just walk away from the debt. That is not reasonable. That I want to make sure that is something that you understand. Just because you say that you are revoking consent to be contacted on the telephone and you're asking for it to be validated does not mean that the debt goes away. Now, what it does mean is that you as a consumer cannot be asked to pay anything on that debt until the validation has been provided. By the way, anyone that says to you, oh, it's too late for that, we don't validate debts, they're violating the law. That's when you want to pick up the phone. You want to call us. Say, hey, listen, I got a phone call from so-and-so. This is what they said. And what do I need to do from here? And we'll help you.